Welcome, world. We are here to give a review on Downton Abbey. Now, I'm going to start over, though. I just wanted to review Downton Abbey really bad. Welcome, world. We are the Brother Floggers. And we today are reviewing Downton Abbey, the movie. But I spent the time 2 days and 8 hours of viewing the series, all 6 seasons.
And I saved my time and didn't view any of the seasons.
Just the movie.
Right.
So we're going to give you a full review on whether you need to watch the series or if you can just get away with watching the movie. But we're going to let you know who to watch this with and what kind of content is in this movie. So you can know whether this is a family movie or whatever kind of movie you're going to watch.
Or just a British movie.
Or just a British movie that you can watch.
British don't have families.
Just Americans, and they have like 20 kids. Oh no, that's just Catholics and Mormons.
I came in with pretty much no knowledge of the movie at all. Like, I didn't watch anything. I tried not to. My wife has watched it, but I didn't talk to her about it because I didn't want to have any spoilers.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about whether that was a good idea or not. So this movie takes place in 1927, and it's about a year and a half, I think, after the end of the series. So the whole series from the beginning to the end of this movie is about a 15-year span, and we're taking place in 1927 before the 30s.
I didn't realize it spanned so much.
Yeah, it's spanned
a long range.
The basic synopsis of the movie is the king and queen are coming to visit Downton Abbey, and they're all very excited about this. And when the king and queen come, he brings his own staff, and so there's conflict between the Downton Abbey staff and the king and queen staff.
Who are super snooty.
And the king and queen, and how now the Crowley family is not the top of the tier, and how they handle the king and queen coming with all their royalty and all their people and everything, and how they handle that. First of all, we'll talk about what we liked about this movie. And what
did we like?
Yeah, this will be interesting to see, because again, we haven't talked about this between Bryce and I, and so it'll be interesting.
So, I thought, let's see, I liked Tom. He was actually my favorite character. I felt like his character was very likable. He was like the hero, but he didn't like flaunt it because he saved the king from being shot. And he's just a very genuine, like, warm personality. Like the way that he helps the princess, I forget her name, but the king's daughter, without knowing who she is, and that kind of stuff. I thought he was a real bright spot.
Yeah, and he is. He develops a lot, and they finally give him a relationship because he's married to one of the Crowley daughters, and she dies in childbirth. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the series. Oh no!
Oh no, you forgot. Although you kind of figure that out when he's like hunting for ladies.
Yeah, that's
pretty early on. But
I felt like the plot was a little bit weak in this show. The king and queen coming, I thought, was a good idea, but the conflict between the staff, based on the series, I felt like it was a little bit off. I felt like Mrs. Bates was a little too fiery. She kind of rises up and gets everyone together to overtake this other kitchen staff, and I felt like it was almost a little bit off based on the series on how fiery everyone is. And Mr. Carson going along with it, I just felt like that was just a little bit off. I know he wanted to see the king because he's super loyal, but I just felt like that whole premise of them going against the king and queen's people, especially your characters like Mr. Carson, was just a little bit pushed a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't get that feeling, but I don't have any of the background, so I thought that was probably the most interesting part of the plot, was them dealing with the chef and the what was that guy's title?
Not the butler, but the page
of the backstairs or whatever it was.
Yeah, he wasn't a butler.
Yeah, he wasn't a butler. I thought that was one of the most dynamic parts of the story, just because we got to know the staff, I think, a little bit more in this, coming from a perspective of not knowing them at all. Where the Crowleys, I felt like, I don't know, I had a hard time connecting with them, maybe just because I didn't know anything about them.
Well, and there was
I couldn't figure out their names.
Yeah, well, there's so much backstory in this movie. Coming in without having seen it, I would imagine you're trying to figure out who people are throughout the...
Yeah, they don't do any, like, introductions of the characters. They just throw them in there and they assume you know them already. And so and maybe partly too because they speak British instead of English. But sometimes I didn't catch people's names at all. And I was like, what is his name? And I would never figure out like the relationship until the end. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's who it is.
Yeah, that's who it is. Oh, no wonder they talk to each other so much.
Yeah, well, they do. They throw you right into this because it's kind of a tribute movie to the series. It totally is, because they continue right off where the series
ends.
And well, I mean, it's a couple years after, but they really continue off, and without knowing who people are. There's a couple new characters that come into this one, which are fun. But
Professor Umbridge
from Harry Potter. She's great. It's definitely, if you don't know the characters very well, it seems like it might be hard to follow.
It was a little bit, especially the beginning half, trying to figure out who everyone was and their relationships with everyone else. And there's a lot of characters too, so it's not just like a handful of people. You're looking. I mean, there's like 20 different main characters, it seems like.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I think one of the nice things about Downton Abbey, it's a very feel-good kind of a movie. It's for the most part, it's pretty wholesome. It makes you feel good. They always make sure it ends with a happy ending, with the exception of season 3 when Mathew Collier dies.
Spoiler!
Spoiler, another one!
I didn't know that.
You didn't even know who Mathew Collier was.
I remember them mentioning him, I think, at one point in the movie, and I was like, who's that? Yeah. Oh, I also really liked the relationship with, you kind of mentioned it, but with Violet, Grandma Crowley, and the Countess, or Bagshaw, or whatever, the Professor Umbridge and Professor McGonagall. I thought their relationship, Maggie Smith is such a lovable character.
She's so awesome.
Actress.
And she has the best lines.
Yeah, she does. She has some. That was actually probably my favorite side story.
Yeah, and she's one of the favorite parts about the whole series.
How you hate to be wrong. I wouldn't know. I'm not familiar with the sensation.
Is she?
Yeah, she is just so great through the whole thing.
I said nice with the British accent.
Yeah,
nice.
She's nice. She was so nice throughout the whole movie. I think I went Australian there. Yeah, I was wondering, did you, as a person who hadn't seen the series, were you very interested in the movie? Was it kind of boring, or did you not like it very much?
At first, I was like trying to figure out everything, and then it felt like it kind of got boring. But then I felt like it picked up again at the end, and maybe partly because I was starting to understand relationships and stuff better. My wife tells me I don't know relationships in real life either, so maybe that's...
There's a lot of just side stuff going on, a lot of further character development that was taken.
And I don't care about the characters. I don't have any past history with them, so it's like what is this part? Like, why are we even watching this guy? How does this add to the plot?
Yeah, because there was a lot that was developed from the series that they were developing.
That don't necessarily further the plot.
Of the movie. I think my biggest beef with this movie is that it is rated PG. They gave it a PG rating, but they have some pretty heavy
homosexual themes.
Yeah, homosexual with Barrow.
And sexual, yeah.
Yeah, they have a big section on this, and where they show a lot of homosexual activity, and that's okay if they want to throw that in, but they're giving it a PG rating, which is the same as Aladdin or The Lion King or Frozen. They're giving the same as these cartoons, but they're throwing in very mature adult content, and I know they wanted to make it feel like any kind of relationship, but it's kind of a social.
It's a very political and controversial subject.
Yeah,
and that's very sexually oriented. I mean, you see multiple adult males kissing and stuff like that. That's not really PG status. I don't agree with that. Yeah.
And even if it was even just a heterosexual with dancing, provocative dancing. Kissing, stuff like that.
Floozying around, speaking at a speakeasy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And with that kind of stuff going on, I think that would even warrant a PG-13. And then to throw on a more controversial topic such as homosexuality, having a PG rating, I feel like is completely inappropriate for this movie. It should have. I would give it not only PG-13, but I think this is a 15, 16-year-old and older type movie to really have an understanding of these
concepts. Because you're older and can understand, and
I think you need to be an older teenager to go into this movie and be able to have an understanding or
The maturity, probably.
Maturity.
To have the maturity to handle it and not be like, "Ew!" And,
Yeah.
I mean, I did that. But
and cry at the end. It was a mature movie. Adult movie.
I felt very
XXX.
mature. Anything with British in it, though, I feel more mature. I'm like, oh, yeah.
And more intelligent.
Yeah,
really.
more intelligent. Like, man, I should be like a lord or a count or something like that.
And so I would give it a good solid 1.5, almost 2 thumbs up for me having watched this series. I feel like it's tied together well. Of course, the actors are awesome, and they do a fantastic job making it like the TV series. Yeah, what would you give it?
So I was trying to figure out what the rating system actually allows me to do, because I feel like if you're into period pieces and like silly romances and stuff, just,
this is perfect. 5 thumbs up.
Yeah, and all the fingers. No, I would recommend like half a thumb maybe, but not having the history and like I felt like it was a little slow and stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I wouldn't like say like don't go see it. So I'd be like 0 thumbs. Can you do 0 thumbs?
You can do.
I wouldn't say like bad thumbs. Like no, don't go see it.
You're a knuckle on it.
But I'm kind of like, I mean, if you're into those sort of movies, sure you can watch it. But so maybe like like a knuckle.
Yeah, that is interesting because it's interesting to see where you don't have that connection with the characters. What a difference that makes. Because I enjoyed it quite a bit. But again, I have all the history and I know all the characters. I spent 2 days and 8 hours of my life watching the whole entire season. And I did do that in one setting. Hear you.
Thank goodness.
So yeah, it really ties everything together well, and it really ends very, very happy for all the characters. And you can feel like you've gotten one more piece of Downton, and it is a really happy piece that you can hold on to a little bit longer until they decide to make another few million and make another movie.
Yeah, I want to make 150 million this year. Let's make another one.
Well, so overall, I would say if you've seen the series, obviously you've probably already seen the movie, or you are going to see the movie. If you haven't seen the movie,
I'd say it's worth the time to watch the series, but that's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time.
Depends on what you're into.
If you're into period pieces, and if you like your Pride and Prejudice and stuff like that, I would say do yourself a service. Watch the series first if you like these kind of movies. Before you watch the movie, you'll enjoy it a lot more. If you just want to check it out because you don't want to put the time into it, it'll be an okay experience, but not near as gratifying as if you had seen the series.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Be sure to like and subscribe so you can hear more bad English accents. And we are going to be doing more movies in the future. If you want to tell us what movies you'd like to see us review, let us know. And
let us know what your favorite British phrase is.
Yeah.
Top of the morning to you.
Or
That's
your
fine.
favorite British phrase or your favorite Maggie Smith line from the movie.
That's good too.
She has some good lines.